What if the future is already written? What if hidden signs in the past can reveal what lies ahead for us today? Nostradamus, a man born in 1503 in France, might have had the answers. Known as a physician, astrologer, and visionary, he wrote mysterious quatrains, 4-line prophetic verses that continue to intrigue people centuries later. His writings have been said to predict world-changing events like the French Revolution, the bubonic plague, and even the horrors of Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. But how much of it is truly accurate, and how much is simply coincidence? Some say his words are so vague that anyone can interpret them to fit any event. Others point to the astonishing number of predictions that have come true, wondering if Nostradamus had a special connection to the forces that shape our fate. As we look at his work and reflect on the stars' influence, the question remains: can his ancient wisdom hold the key to understanding our destiny? In the coming moments, let's see how Nostradamus's predictions may just shine a light on the path to fortune, especially in the coming month. Stay tuned to see if the stars align in your favor. As we look ahead to 2025, the world is at a crossroads. Climate crises are intensifying, with unpredictable weather patterns and rising temperatures challenging our planet. Political tensions continue to stir across nations, shaping global relations and decisions. At the same time, technology is advancing faster than ever, bringing both opportunities and uncertainties for the future. With such dramatic changes happening around us, what does the future hold for you in 2025? Are the stars aligned for a year of fortune, transformation, or unexpected challenges? Stay tuned to find out how these global shifts may affect you and how Nostradamus's ancient wisdom might hold the key to your path forward. If you want to stay updated on the latest predictions, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. The Pacific Ring of Fire is one of the most active volcanic regions in the world. Stretching across the edges of the Pacific Ocean, it's home to about 75% of the world's active volcanoes. This area is known for its frequent earthquakes and eruptions, some of which are so powerful they can change the course of history. One of the biggest fears scientists have is the potential for a super-volcano eruption in this region. A supervolcano is a rare but extremely dangerous event. Unlike regular volcanoes, which erupt on a smaller scale, a supervolcano can cause massive destruction. The eruption of such a volcano could release thousands of times more ash and lava than an ordinary volcano. This could lead to a global disaster, with ash blocking out the sun for months, causing temperatures to drop. This sudden global cooling would disrupt farming and food production, leading to widespread famine and economic collapse. While supervolcanoes are rare, scientists are closely monitoring the signs that one might be waking up. The most well-known supervolcano in the Pacific Ring of Fire is located under Yellowstone National Park in the United States. Though it's not expected to erupt anytime soon, the power of such an event is enough to make experts take notice. If an eruption were to happen, it would cause massive environmental changes, including climate shifts that could last for years. The effects of a catastrophic volcanic eruption go beyond just cooling the planet. Ash and gases released into the atmosphere can poison water sources, destroy crops, and even cause widespread respiratory issues. The fallout from such an eruption could impact the global economy in ways we can't fully predict. Entire cities and regions could be wiped off the map, leaving millions of people displaced and without resources. Scientists are also concerned about the impact a volcanic eruption would have on the ozone layer. The release of sulfur dioxide into the atmosphere could deplete the ozone layer, allowing more harmful UV rays to reach the Earth. This could lead to increased rates of skin cancer and other health problems around the world. In addition, the ash cloud from such an eruption could travel across continents, affecting countries far from the volcano itself. Even though the chances of a supervolcano eruption are slim in the near future, it's essential to be aware of the risks. Experts suggest that we prepare for possible natural disasters by building resilient infrastructure and improving early warning systems. This can help mitigate the damage and give people a better chance to survive such catastrophic events. The Pacific Ring of Fire remains one of the most unpredictable areas on Earth. While the likelihood of a supervolcano eruption may be low in the coming years, the potential consequences are so severe that it's a topic that deserves our attention. Even in the face of such a disaster, humanity's ability to adapt and respond may ultimately determine the long-term impact of such an event. Whether or not a catastrophic volcanic eruption is in our immediate future, it's clear that the world remains vulnerable to these powerful natural forces. In the coming years, the world is witnessing shifting alliances and changing power dynamics that are reshaping the political landscape. Nations that were once strong allies are starting to reconsider their relationships, while new partnerships are forming. This constant shifting of alliances could have far-reaching consequences on global stability, as leaders navigate the complexities of maintaining their influence in a world that is becoming more unpredictable. Betrayal among allies has become a theme in recent times, as countries weigh their own interests against the promises made to others. Historically strong alliances, such as those within the European Union or NATO, are facing challenges as national interests begin to clash. Trust, once the foundation of these partnerships, is now being questioned. As nations pursue their own agendas, the idea of loyalty to one's allies becomes less certain. This betrayal could lead to broken agreements, a rise in tensions, and possibly even conflicts that were once unimaginable. At the same time, domestic political strife is intensifying in many countries. As economic challenges, social unrest, and public dissatisfaction grow, leaders are finding it harder to maintain control over their own governments. Political divisions are widening, and the stability of domestic politics is under threat. In some countries, leaders are being challenged by opposition parties, while others are struggling to deal with growing protests from their own citizens. This internal chaos can further destabilize global power dynamics, as nations turn inward to deal with their own problems rather than focus on international cooperation. The combination of shifting alliances, political betrayals, and domestic unrest creates a volatile atmosphere that could have lasting consequences. Countries may find themselves on the brink of major political shifts or upheavals as long-standing leaders lose power and new faces emerge. These changes could affect trade agreements, military partnerships, and international diplomacy in ways that will be hard to predict. As the world's political map shifts, one thing is certain: the future will not be shaped by traditional alliances alone. The next few years could bring unexpected changes to the balance of power, with new global players emerging while old alliances fracture. Whether these changes bring about greater cooperation or lead to conflict remains to be seen. The rise of artificial intelligence, AI, is one of the most transformative developments in modern history. AI is becoming an integral part of daily life, with smart devices, virtual assistants, and automated systems now helping us in everything from shopping to healthcare. These technologies are making tasks more efficient and accessible, but as AI continues to advance, the implications become more complex. One of the major concerns about AI is its potential to change the way we live and work in ways we may not fully understand. While AI promises to make our lives easier, it also raises serious risks. For example, there are fears about privacy as AI systems collect vast amounts of data about individuals. This information could be misused or hacked, leading to breaches of privacy or identity theft. Additionally, as AI systems become more sophisticated, the line between human and machine decisions becomes blurred, raising questions about accountability and trust. Ethically, there are also concerns about how AI might be used. Could it be weaponized or used to manipulate people's choices? Who is responsible when AI makes a mistake or causes harm? These questions point to the need for clear regulations and ethical guidelines to ensure AI is used for the benefit of society and not for harm. The impact of AI on employment is another critical issue. As machines become capable of performing tasks traditionally done by humans, many fear job displacement. Industries like manufacturing, customer service, and even creative fields are already seeing AI take on roles once held by workers. This shift could lead to widespread unemployment and force society to rethink its approach to work, wages, and education. People may need to adapt by learning new skills and roles that are less likely to be automated. On a broader level, AI has the potential to change the structure of society. The wealth gap could widen if those who own AI technologies gain more control over industries, leaving others behind. At the same time, there is potential for AI to contribute to solving some of the world's most pressing problems, such as climate change and healthcare, by providing innovative solutions and efficiencies. As AI continues to evolve, it is clear that it will bring both benefits and challenges. How we choose to manage its growth and integration into our lives will determine whether it serves as a force for good or becomes a source of division and conflict. The future of AI is still uncertain, but its impact on society and the economy will be profound. The world is witnessing a significant shift in global power, with the balance tilting from the West to the East. For years, Western nations, particularly the United States and European powers, have dominated the global stage. However, China's growing influence in recent years signals a shift that is reshaping international relations. China's rise is not just about economic growth, it's about its expanding role in global politics and trade. One of the key drivers of this shift is China's Belt and Road Initiative, BRI, a massive infrastructure project that spans across Asia, Africa, and Europe. The BRI aims to build roads, railways, ports, and other infrastructure, connecting countries and boosting trade between them. By financing these projects, China is not only increasing its economic power, but also gaining influence over the nations involved. Countries that rely on Chinese investments are becoming more aligned with China's strategic goals, which shifts the global power balance. However, this rise of China is not without challenges. As China's power grows, it has started to face opposition, particularly from Western nations that see its influence as a threat to their own interests. This has led to tensions, especially in regions like the South China Sea, where territorial disputes have raised concerns about potential conflicts. As China strengthens its global presence, some nations fear that its growing dominance could lead to the erosion of established global systems and values that have been shaped by Western countries for centuries. The transition of global power from West to East could also lead to economic and political instability. Countries in the West may resist China's rise, leading to trade wars, sanctions, or diplomatic struggles. Additionally, Nations that are caught between these two powerful forces may find themselves in difficult positions, forced to choose sides or navigate the tensions that arise. This shift also brings into focus the challenges of managing a more multipolar world. As China and other Eastern powers gain influence, the dynamics of global governance may become more complex. The influence of institutions like the United Nations, World Bank, and the International Monetary Fund, traditionally dominated by Western countries, could be tested. These changes in global power could lead to a rethinking of how international systems operate and what values should guide global cooperation in the future. The rise of China and the shift of power from west to east is a significant moment in history. While it offers new opportunities for growth and collaboration, it also presents risks of conflict and instability. The world is entering a new era, and how nations navigate this transition will define the future of global relations. Environmental catastrophes are becoming an increasingly urgent concern as the planet faces a growing number of climate-related issues. Rising temperatures, extreme weather events, and shifting ecosystems are just a few of the signs that our environment is under stress. These intensifying climate issues are not only affecting nature, but are also starting to have severe consequences for human life. The effects of climate change are being felt around the world, from devastating wildfires in one region to record-breaking floods in another. Extreme weather events such as hurricanes, droughts, and heat waves are becoming more frequent and more intense. These events are displacing entire communities, destroying homes, and causing billions of dollars in damage. The world's ability to cope with such frequent and severe disasters is being stretched thin, and the social and economic costs are mounting. One of the biggest challenges resulting from these environmental catastrophes is resource scarcity. As the planet's climate changes, natural resources like water, arable land, and energy are becoming increasingly scarce. Water shortages, for instance, are already affecting millions of people across the globe, especially in regions that rely on agriculture for their livelihoods. As temperatures rise, crops fail more often, and soil becomes less fertile. These issues make it harder for many countries to feed their populations, which in turn leads to food insecurity. With limited resources, nations are starting to compete for what's left, leading to rising tensions over access to water, land, and energy. This competition can fuel conflicts, particularly in regions where resources are already scarce. As governments struggle to address the growing needs of their populations, they face the difficult challenge of balancing economic development with environmental preservation. The result of these environmental and resource challenges is a growing number of humanitarian crises. As climate change exacerbates food and water shortages, millions of people around the world are being pushed into poverty. Families are forced to flee their homes due to floods, droughts, and wildfires, creating waves of refugees. The displacement of people can lead to overcrowded conditions in refugee camps, where healthcare and sanitation are limited, making it easier for diseases to spread. These crises also put additional strain on the countries that are already struggling to cope with their own economic and social issues. In addition to the immediate humanitarian impact, these crises are contributing to long-term instability. Countries that are already dealing with political unrest may see their problems worsened by environmental factors. Governments may struggle to provide for their citizens, and social tensions could rise as resources become more difficult to find. The risk of conflicts over water, land, and other basic necessities is higher than ever, and global cooperation is essential to avoid further destabilization. The intensifying climate issues, resource scarcity, and resulting humanitarian crises show how closely our survival is tied to the health of the planet. As environmental disasters become more frequent and more severe, the world must find ways to adapt and act quickly to protect both people and the planet. The future will depend on our ability to address these challenges in a way that prioritizes sustainability and cooperation over conflict and division. The threat of World War III has become a growing concern as international tensions escalate across various regions. In today's interconnected world, even small conflicts can have far-reaching consequences, drawing multiple nations into broader disputes. As global power dynamics shift and old alliances fracture, the risk of a large-scale conflict intensifies. Nations are increasingly at odds over political, territorial, and economic issues, and the possibility of these tensions escalating into a world war cannot be ignored. One of the primary factors contributing to the rising threat of global conflict is the growing rivalry between major powers. As China's influence continues to expand and Russia asserts itself on the world stage, tensions between these nations and Western powers like the United States and Europe are mounting. Disputes over territorial boundaries, military presence, and global influence are fueling friction, and the world is seeing more frequent diplomatic standoffs. In particular, areas like the South China Sea, Eastern Europe, and the Middle East are becoming hotbeds of potential conflict, where seemingly minor incidents could spark larger military confrontations. There are several potential trigger points that could set off a wider war. One of the most significant is the competition over resources, such as water, oil, and rare minerals, which are becoming increasingly scarce. As countries vie for control of these essential resources, the risk of military conflict grows. Another flashpoint is the ongoing arms race, where nations continue to expand their military capabilities, including nuclear arsenals, leading to an atmosphere of mutual distrust. The potential for cyber attacks, which could cripple critical infrastructure, also presents a modern-day trigger for conflict. These cyber threats are difficult to trace and can be used by countries to provoke adversaries without direct military engagement, making it harder to prevent escalation. Modern warfare itself has evolved dramatically from the past, and the implications of a potential World War III are staggering. With the advent of advanced technology such as AI-driven weapons, drones, and cyber warfare, battles could be fought in new, unpredictable ways. The use of nuclear weapons remains a terrifying prospect, as the destructive power of modern bombs could lead to widespread devastation. Even a limited nuclear exchange could cause catastrophic loss of life, environmental damage, and long-term economic collapse. On the other hand, the rise of cyber warfare means that countries could engage in conflict without firing a single shot. Cyber attacks could disrupt economies, collapse power grids, or even cripple military operations, creating chaos without a traditional battlefield. The global impact of such a conflict would be devastating, affecting not only the countries directly involved, but also the rest of the world. Trade would be severely disrupted, economies would plummet, and millions of lives would be at risk. Refugee crises could grow as people flee war zones, and humanitarian efforts would be stretched to their limits. The global political system, already unstable, could collapse under the weight of such a large-scale conflict, leaving the world in a state of chaos. While the likelihood of World War III remains uncertain, the factors driving international tensions are undeniable. The world must find ways to address these issues, manage conflicts diplomatically, and avoid the catastrophic consequences of a global war. Cooperation, dialogue, and peace-building efforts are needed now more than ever to prevent the outbreak of widespread conflict. The looming energy crisis is a critical issue facing the world today, driven by resource depletion, infrastructure vulnerabilities, and the need for sustainable alternatives. As the demand for energy continues to rise, traditional sources of energy are becoming less viable, leading to a growing need for new and innovative solutions. One of the primary concerns is the depletion of natural resources, such as oil, gas, and coal. These traditional energy sources are finite, and as they become scarcer, the cost of extraction increases. Moreover, burning these fossil fuels releases greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, contributing to climate change and environmental damage. The depletion of these resources not only threatens energy security, but also increases the risk of geopolitical tensions as countries compete for limited energy supplies. Infrastructure vulnerabilities also play a significant role in the energy crisis. Many existing power plants, pipelines, and grid systems are outdated and prone to breakdowns. Natural disasters, cyber attacks, or even simple wear and tear can cause widespread disruptions in energy supply. This vulnerability is particularly evident in regions with aging infrastructure, where blackouts and power shortages are becoming more frequent. As these energy systems become more stressed, the risk of more significant disruptions rises, affecting everything from transportation to healthcare. To address these challenges, the world is increasingly turning to alternative energy solutions. Renewable energy sources, such as solar, wind, and hydropower, are gaining popularity due to their ability to generate clean energy without depleting natural resources. Solar panels and wind turbines are becoming more affordable and efficient, making them accessible to both individuals and communities. These technologies not only reduce carbon emissions, but also help create more resilient energy systems, which are less dependent on fossil fuels. Moreover, advances in energy storage technology are making it possible to store excess energy generated from renewable sources, which can be used during periods of high demand or during grid failures. This shift towards renewable energy not only helps mitigate the impacts of climate change, but also creates new jobs and fosters economic growth in green technology sectors. However, transitioning to alternative energy is not without challenges. It requires significant investments in infrastructure, policy changes, and international cooperation. Governments need to prioritize green energy initiatives and provide incentives for industries to invest in renewable technologies. Additionally, finding the right balance between immediate energy needs and long-term sustainability is a delicate challenge for many nations. The looming energy crisis highlights the urgent need for global cooperation in transitioning to renewable energy sources. While the world faces the threat of resource depletion and infrastructure breakdowns, the move towards cleaner, more sustainable energy options offers hope for a more stable and environmentally friendly future. The decisions we make today will determine whether the world can navigate the energy crisis without compromising the well-being of future generations. The threat of environmental and agricultural collapse is growing, with serious consequences for food security, water availability, and human migration. As climate change intensifies, ecosystems are being disrupted, and agricultural systems are facing unprecedented challenges. These shifts are contributing to food shortages, water scarcity, and mass migration, creating a crisis that affects millions of people globally. One of the most immediate concerns is food shortages. As temperatures rise, Weather patterns become more unpredictable, and crops are increasingly vulnerable to extreme weather events like droughts, floods, and heat waves. For example, prolonged droughts can decimate vital crops like wheat, rice, and corn, while floods can destroy fields and infrastructure. These events reduce crop yields, making it harder for farmers to feed local populations. In some regions, soil degradation and erosion further limit agricultural production. As a result, food prices rise and access to essential nutrients becomes more difficult, leading to hunger and malnutrition, especially in developing countries. Water scarcity is another critical issue. Freshwater supplies are being depleted at an alarming rate, with many rivers and aquifers drying up due to overuse and changing rainfall patterns. Regions that depend on seasonal rains for water and agriculture are particularly vulnerable. As droughts become more frequent and intense, many communities are left with limited access to clean water. This scarcity affects everything from drinking water to agricultural irrigation, further exacerbating food shortages. As the availability of water shrinks, conflicts over water resources are becoming more common, leading to tensions between nations, regions, and even within countries. These environmental pressures are also driving mass migration. People living in areas severely affected by food shortages and water scarcity are forced to leave their homes in search of better opportunities elsewhere. This migration is particularly noticeable in parts of Africa, Asia, and Central America, where climate change has already made life unbearable for many communities. As large groups of people move across borders, they put additional strain on urban areas, infrastructure, and local economies in the places they settle. Refugees often face poor living conditions in overcrowded camps, lacking adequate access to food, water, and healthcare. In some cases, migration can lead to political instability and conflict, as governments struggle to manage the influx of people and the resources they need. The environmental and agricultural collapse is not just an issue for the countries directly affected. It is a global challenge that requires collective action. Governments, businesses, and individuals must work together to address the root causes of these problems, such as reducing carbon emissions, investing in sustainable farming practices, and conserving water. Solutions also need to include better disaster preparedness, improved infrastructure, and policies that support climate resilience in vulnerable regions. As the world faces the dual threats of environmental destruction and agricultural collapse, the impact on food security, water access, and migration will continue to escalate. Addressing these issues now is crucial to preventing widespread suffering and ensuring a more sustainable future for all. The possibility of an asteroid impact is one of the most significant threats to life on Earth, yet it remains a danger that many people often overlook. Asteroids, large rocky bodies traveling through space, have the potential to cause widespread devastation if they collide with our planet. While the chances of a major asteroid impact happening in the near future are low, the sheer scale of the damage it could cause is enough to spark scientific interest and concern. The space dangers we face, especially asteroids, are real and have been a part of Earth's history. In the past, a large asteroid impact is believed to have contributed to the mass extinction of the dinosaurs. Modern technology, however, has allowed scientists to detect and track near-Earth objects, or NEOs, which include asteroids and comets that pass close to our planet. With better monitoring systems in place, we have a clearer picture of which objects pose a threat and when. If a dangerous asteroid is discovered, there may be ways to alter its path, though these strategies are still in their early stages of development. Advancement in space technology has significantly improved our ability to monitor, track, and even attempt to deflect potentially hazardous objects. Space agencies like NASA, ESA, European Space Agency, and others have been working on missions to prevent asteroid impacts. For example, NASA's DART Double Asteroid Redirection Test mission aims to test the idea of deflecting an asteroid by colliding with it at high speeds. This type of technology could be crucial if a dangerous asteroid is detected on a collision course with Earth in the future. Space exploration is also opening new doors to understanding space hazards, while space agencies continue to innovate new ways of protecting our planet. However, as technology continues to advance, there is an important balance between ambition and caution. While the pursuit of space exploration and the potential benefits it holds for humanity are exciting, there is also the risk of overextending resources and focus in the wrong areas. Space exploration can provide valuable insights into the origins of the universe, the potential for life on other planets, and even the possibility of human colonization of distant worlds. Yet, it is equally important to recognize that the risks associated with space exploration must be managed carefully. If the ambition to explore space takes precedence over ensuring Earth's safety from potential space dangers, the consequences could be disastrous. At the same time, we must remain cautious about the potential risks of mishandling the very technology that could save us. While developing systems to prevent asteroid impacts is crucial, the increasing development of space technology also brings new risks, such as space debris, which can cause damage to satellites and other spacecraft, or the weaponization of space technology. These factors highlight the need for international collaboration and careful planning to ensure that space exploration serves humanity without leading to unintended consequences. As we look toward the future, the balance between space exploration and protecting our planet from space dangers will be vital. With further advancements in space technology, we can strengthen our ability to detect and respond to potential asteroid threats. However, it will require global cooperation, responsible innovation, and a careful consideration of the potential risks and rewards of space exploration. The rise of genetic engineering is one of the most groundbreaking scientific advancements of our time. Bioengineering breakthroughs, particularly in the fields of gene editing and synthetic biology, are pushing the boundaries of what is possible in healthcare, agriculture, and even human enhancement. With technologies like CRISPR, scientists can now edit the DNA of living organisms with unprecedented precision, offering the potential to eliminate genetic diseases, enhance crop yields, and even design organisms for specific purposes. In healthcare, genetic engineering has already led to remarkable breakthroughs. Diseases that were once thought incurable, like certain types of cancer, genetic disorders, and even HIV, are now being studied for potential cures through gene therapies. By directly editing or replacing faulty genes, scientists hope to correct genetic mutations that lead to diseases, offering patients a chance at long-term health. In agriculture, genetically modified organisms, GMOs, are being used to create crops that are more resistant to disease, pests, and environmental stress, potentially solving issues related to food security and climate change. However, these breakthroughs come with significant ethical implications. As scientists gain the ability to modify genetic material, the question arises: how far should this technology go? Editing human genes, especially in embryos, raises concerns about the possibility of designer babies, where parents could choose physical traits, intelligence, or even behavioral tendencies for their children. While this could eliminate hereditary diseases, it also opens the door to unintended consequences, such as genetic inequality or the creation of new forms of discrimination. There is also the risk of playing God in ways that we do not fully understand. On a broader scale, the societal impact of genetic engineering is profound. If we can modify crops and animals for specific needs, the agricultural industry could see a massive transformation. With the growing global population and challenges related to climate change, genetically engineered crops could provide solutions to food shortages and environmental degradation. However, there could be unintended side effects, such as loss of biodiversity, dependence on genetically modified seeds, or new ecological imbalances. In terms of healthcare, genetic engineering could improve lives, but it also raises the question of who has access to these technologies. If gene editing becomes a tool available only to the wealthy, it could further deepen social inequality, creating a divide between those who can afford genetic enhancements and those who cannot. Additionally, ethical questions about consent, especially when it comes to gene editing in embryos, must be carefully considered. As the science of genetic engineering continues to advance, it is clear that it holds enormous potential for improving lives and solving complex global challenges. However, it is equally important to approach these advancements with caution, ensuring that ethical concerns are addressed and societal impacts are carefully considered. Balancing the benefits of genetic engineering with the risks it presents will require thoughtful discussions, strict regulations, and a deep understanding of the consequences of these groundbreaking technologies. As we reflect on these predictions and the path that lies ahead, it's clear that the future is shaped by both the forces of nature and the decisions we make as individuals and societies. While we can anticipate certain outcomes, whether it's the rise of new technologies, environmental challenges, or shifts in global power, the ultimate direction is in our hands. Human agency remains a powerful force, capable of influencing the course of events. By embracing innovation responsibly, making conscious choices, and working together, we can shape a future that benefits all. I encourage you to engage with these ideas and share your thoughts. What do you think the future holds? And how do you see humanity navigating these challenges? Leave a comment below and let's start a conversation. Your perspective is important. If you found this content valuable, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay connected. I'll continue bringing insights on what's to come and how we can prepare. In the end, the future is not a fixed destination. It's a journey we create with every decision, every action. Whether the road ahead is smooth or full of obstacles, remember that we have the power to change the course of our collective fate. Let's face the unknown with hope, responsibility, and the belief that together we can navigate the challenges that lie ahead.